Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Women Like Me. I'm Julie Fairhurst, and I'm here today with Donna Fairhurst. Now, Donna and I are not related in any way that we're aware of, but we both have the same last name, so that's fabulous. And I'd like to introduce Donna by just reading a little bit of her bio. Donna Fairhurst is a life and soul coach, author, Reiki Master, and Chief Evolving Officer of Soulful Solutions, blessed and grateful for the opportunity to share her purpose for being. So, welcome, Donna. Thank you for agreeing to be here with us.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's a pleasure and an honor to be
Oh,
here with
good.
you today.
Good. Thank you. Okay. And I want to mention that Donna is an author, a published author in our book number 5, Women Like Me from Lost to Living. And Donna is in chapter 3. So if anybody wants to get the book and read Donna's story, as well as the other 10 stories in the book, that they can go ahead and do that as well. So great story, Donna. I really appreciated you doing it. Can I just ask you what made you want to write your story?
Julie, I've always been told for as long as I can remember that I needed to write a book. I had so many stories, and the more I, you know, went along the journey of life, the more the stories accumulated. And family and friends and coworkers would say, "You need to write this down. You need to share this with people. It's an inspiration and it's an obligation." And it's part of your
Right.
purpose. And I didn't understand that at that time. You know, it's kind of closed off to purpose. And then I had multiple near death experiences, which led me into a whole different realm of spiritual and personal
Mm.
exploration. And through that, uh, I came to find you when I declared myself that I would be an author in 2022. 5 days later, you contacted me and asked me if I would contribute to one of your books. And this is the
Wow.
third book that I contributed to, and this was a chapter. So it was big for me because it allowed me to discover my true author's voice, my
Yes.
writer's voice. And I never would have done that or found that or had that confidence if it had not been for you coming into my life. I think that there are no accidents.
Right.
Synchronicities are just the God laughing and saying, "Here it comes, get ready,
Well,
it's going to
within
be busy."
within 5 days of declaring it, you do a good job at creating your reality. That's for sure.
Well, one of the things I teach and I'm adamant about is when you say I am,
Hmm.
whatever comes after it better be the most positive spin you can put on whatever is happening, wherever you are, whoever you're with, because that's exactly what you're going to bring to you. So if
Yes.
you're, we can't avoid bad feeling things and we
No.
can't avoid tragedies and things that happen in our lives, our challenges. We can declare how we feel about them as a feeling. So if
Yes.
we're having a tough day, it's I am feeling XYZ, not I am XYZ.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I use I am affirmations myself as well, and I believe in them very strongly. Yeah. So that's perfect. Well, I'm glad that we connected up and that the universe brought us together. I just wanted to ask you a few things about your story, just to sort of get us going here. Now, you wrote in honor of your mom,
I
which
did.
I thought was just beautiful. And so your chapter, the title was, or is, Pieces of My Heart, Seven Miracles, Two Angels, and One Sacred Song for Lois. Just beautiful. I just love it. It's so
Thank you.
beautiful. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because as you go through your story, I love you. Actually, you write very well, by the way. I loved
Thank
right.
you.
I loved reading it. You got me. I could visualize it. Very, very good. One of the things that I really liked is the day that you took your mom out of the hospital, and I think it was down to the ocean just to look, and you took her. Was she in a wheelchair or a gurney?
No, she was actually in a hospital gurney bed. We transferred her
Ah,
into like an ambulance bed so that I could take her out. And we went
yeah.
down to a meadow.
Oh, a meadow.
Um,
That's where it
we could
was.
see the ocean in the distance, but we
Yeah,
went down to a meadow, which she could
yeah.
see from her window. And she hadn't
Oh,
been outside other than ambulance transfers in over 8 months. So it was a really
Oh,
big deal for me to take her
yeah,
outside and
yeah.
have that time. And it was the last time she was outside.
Outside. Oh, oh.
So,
So tell me a little bit about that.
well, mom was hospitalized. She had a long journey of a couple of years through early dementia and vascular disease and cancer, and it all accumulated in her being near the end of her life. And she wanted to go home, and we had her in the hospital in Victoria, and basically they were just prodding and poking her and doing monkey
Mm.
research, and we just said, that's enough, you can't fix this, we're taking her home. And we arranged to take her home to the hospital in Oliver. But when we were in Victoria, she looked out of the window and saw this meadow all the time. And when she
Oh,
was really with it, because sometimes she wasn't, she'd just say, "Oh, if only I could touch the grass again or see the birds again."
oh.
And that was a big deal. And also bacon. She really wanted bacon, and she couldn't, they never let her have it. So this particular morning, I thought, damn the torpedoes, I'm taking her to the meadow. So I got her a bacon sandwich made up and smuggled it into the room. And then I got her all wrapped up and said, I'm just going to take her for a jaunt around the hospital. And they were used to me doing that. And I took her outside. Well, it was really easy to get down in the escalator, or the elevator, and get her out the doors. And then there was quite a not bad path down to the meadow. I didn't
Yeah.
bank on mom's weight, and there was a little slope. We got into
Ah.
the meadow, and it was quite lovely, and we had the most beautiful time there. She saw the
Oh.
birds and the animals, and there was a deer in the meadow, and everything
Oh.
you want for that kind of experience. And then I turned around to take her back up and realized that with her weight and the incline, I could hardly move this up the path. And I was just like praying out loud, okay, God, I'm strong, but I'm not this strong. I need some help here. And as I got to one little point where I could, parking lot people could see me, there was a gentleman taking his wife out in a wheelchair, and he parked her quite unceremoniously and said, "Here, just hang on," braked her, and then he started towards me. But at my side, this young man in full uniform appeared from nowhere. Now, to this day, I can't tell you what uniform it was. It was
Yeah.
blue, but he was just there, and he wasn't there. He wasn't in the parking lot. I don't know where he came from. And he said, "You need some help. I am here. Just ask." And they said, "Well, I'm
Oh.
asking, thank you." And he grabbed it, and the other man came and grabbed the top. And we were up the meadow and back into the hospital. And as we came through the glass doors, there's like mirrors there.
Yeah.
And the fellow whose wife was in the wheelchair, she could see us, right?
Yeah.
And so we got in and hit the elevator, and I thanked the older man whose wife was in the wheelchair watching us.
Yeah.
And I turned for the younger man. He was just gone. And I turned in a complete circle. I looked everywhere. It's a big lobby. He could not have disappeared like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what happened. And then I looked at the gentleman's wife in the wheelchair, and she just looked like her mouth was wide open, her eyes were like wide. And she said, "I don't know what happened. He was there. I could see him, but he had no reflection in the mirror."
Oh, shippers I
And then
get. Oh,
he just disappeared.
wow.
And I said, "Oh, he was an angel."
Oh, that is so beautiful. That's just so beautiful. And the thing I think is that, there's probably angels that help all of us all the time, in our need, but maybe we're not just focused enough, we don't recognize it. But I think it's so beautiful that he came at that time, and yeah, and you recognized it.
I've
It's
been blessed
beautiful.
to have many angelic experiences, and
Ah,
angels have quite literally saved my life on 3 occasions. So
wow.
I, I, it's not a matter of believing in them. I know
Yeah,
and
yeah.
live with angels.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, that's so beautiful. Thank goodness. So you did get help, or you would have got in big trouble for having your mom out there sneaking her around outside.
yeah, I got her back in time, and
Aw. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about, just one more thing, maybe about your mom's experience. I loved reading about when you and your sister were with your mom in her last few moments of life, and how you guys, you two ladies, sisters, had this big plan all sorted out for how your mom was going to depart the earth. And then when she started to depart and it wasn't happening, your sister wasn't even letting her go. She said, "Wait for your music, mom." I mean, can you tell me a little bit about that? I thought that was just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, we knew mom was close to the end and she had no more speech. She was actually able, that was another miracle. She was able to speak to my brother on the phone, who was frantically driving to get to us in time and didn't make it. The miracle there was that she found her voice for just 2 minutes, enough to tell
Oh,
him how much she loved him.
oh,
And
yeah.
we had talked about this with mom when she was really with it and still able to talk with us, what she wanted and how she wanted it. And she was very specific about what she wanted to happen with her transition, and she didn't think of it as death, she considered it as transition.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave us symbols for each of us that were different, to tell us this is how you'll recognize me when I'm gone, and that's in the story in the book. But at that particular moment, she had wanted this particular, she had an attachment to Hawaii and a relationship with many fine people in Hawaii. And it was her soul home. And she wanted to go out to this Hawaiian drum song. And we had had a prayer circle the night before, and we were all ready. And then both of us, who hadn't slept for days, fell asleep. And
Mm.
I woke up, literally, my mother stared me awake, and I woke up and she was there staring at me, and I realized, oh my God, she's going. And my sister was asleep, kind of over the bed, head on the bed, beside her hand, and mom was trying to raise her hand to touch her, but she couldn't. And so I was yelling at my sister, wake up, she's going, Reedy. And Reedy was, we knocked she knocked the tape recorder off. She was trying to hang on to mom and start the tape recorder. We had to get that back up, and she told mom, wait. And mom gave us this look like, oh girls, get your shit together. She would have told us in the moment, right?
Oh,
And there was this,
oh.
it was, you, if all of us can remember when our mothers have given us that long suffering look,
Yeah,
God, this too shall pass. Well,
yeah.
that was the look she gave us, along with a little bit of exasperation, because after all, this was her big moment, not
Yes,
ours. We'd
yes.
rehearsed this, and now
Yeah.
we were screwing up her big play. So it was like,
Oh,
okay, we got it going, we started it, and everything was beautiful. The transition was beautiful.
oh,
It was
yeah.
hard in the
Of
moment,
course.
but it was beautiful.
Yeah. I just love the way you wrote it because it's just so real. You can just visualize it happening, the chaos in that moment. And I can just visualize your mom laying there like, girls, like hold on. I do. I just loved it. Your whole story was fabulous. Um, Something else though that I did pick up in your story, and I'm just wondering if you could just expand a little bit for us, where you wrote about having experienced multiple near-death experiences. And I know that you mentioned it in the beginning while we were talking, but can you tell us that maybe just focus on one of those or tell us a little bit about that?
Um, I can pretty quickly tell you a little bit about all three, but the first one
Okay.
was I was young. I was living in Indonesia. I was living in Medan in Sumatra, the capital of Sumatra, and my husband was working away in the northern province of Sumatra. And so I was home alone with my two children, a toddler and a baby. And I had been having a lot of pain in my abdomen. Went to the
Mm.
doctor that afternoon, and he discovered a massive growth on my ovary, and and I was very sick and I was running a fever, and he just said, okay, we've got no choice, we're air ambulancing you out. And I was told, I don't remember this, I passed away as they were taking me out of the plane, and the paramedics brought me back and they got me to the hospital and they rushed me into emergency surgery. And
Wow.
I did not respond well to the anesthetic, and I passed away again. And they were working on me. But the interesting thing about that is I went immediately there, and I was just in this light, and I was told, you're going to breathe again. All there is love. I
Oh,
am love, you are love, we are love. That is all there is. And I was
wow.
awake. And then I was suddenly back in the recovery room. But I was so infused with this love that I experienced in that brief moment of being on the other side
Mhm.
that I pretty much spontaneously healed. My doctor said, I've never seen anything like this, you know? And the next day he sat with me and
Wow.
he said, you had a near death experience. Do you realize that? You were talking about it in recovery. And I don't remember any of that.
Oh,
A few years later, 5 years later, 3 years later, I ended up having a repeat experience and required a full hysterectomy. And I had precancerous cells and that, so they were very worried because I'd had a precancerous experience before. And even though they handled my anesthetic very well, I passed away again.
oh,
This time, I was actually in the room, and I was the typical one that you hear about. I was in light, but I was above the operating table, and I could see myself on the table, and I could see all of the nurses. And in that particular surgery, my doctor had a nurse practitioner that always was with him in everything, and her name was Lily. And she had grabbed my hand, the one that didn't have the IV on, and was relatively free. And she was holding my hand, and she was literally holding my hand and saying, "Stay with me." And she had her hand like on my wrist. I could feel
oh,
her pulse against my pulse.
oh,
I could feel the
wow.
two pulses, and I could feel my pulse stopping and hers still feeling hers. And then I
Mm-hmm.
realized that in the rush of everything that was happening in the room, everybody was speaking Chinese and not, because I was in Singapore,
Oh,
and not English, which they all spoke. And I thought, I understood them. And I thought, oh my God, I don't speak Chinese. What is happening here? The next thing I knew, I was out of the room and I was in this massive light again, which I remembered. There was no tunnel or anything like that.
yeah.
It was in this massive light. And then in the light, I saw other lights coming towards me, and they were all different colors. And then
Oh,
one light I recognized specifically as my father.
ah,
And then as the light came towards me, I saw my father as I saw him and knew him in life. And he'd been gone. He died in the year I left to go to Indonesia in 1979, and this was 1985.
yeah.
So it was, I was very emotional seeing him. And I said, Dad, what are you doing here? What am I doing? What am I doing? Where am I? And he said, Well, you're here with me. You're on the other side. And we're here to just bring you all of the love that you need in this moment. And then
Mm.
I said, I can't stay here. I have to go back. I've got two babies at home. I got to be out of here. And he said, I don't know if you have a choice. And then he said, the guardians will talk with you. And all of this was happening. We weren't talking with
No,
voices. It
no.
was
In, yeah.
telepathically.
Yes, yes.
And then all I can call you is these 12 great white pillars of light came in behind all the other lights. And then they came forward as bigger lights. And then um, I was speaking with one of them, the biggest light, and he said, "This is a time. This is a gate that you chose." And I said, "What do you mean gates?" And he said, "Well, we all have many paths, and as souls we incorporate." And I said, "So are you God?" And he said, and he laughed literally and said, "No, no, I am not God. We are all God Godding." And later on,
Um,
when I read Neil Donald Walsh's book and he said we are all God Godding from his experience, I just went,
ah,
holy crap, I knew this. I knew this
yeah,
so
yeah.
long ago.
Wow.
And it resonated with me, but they told me I would go back, that I would remember everything, that I would see them again. And in fact, I did many years later have another experience, and that I would at some point live and teach from this, which I do now.
Yeah.
That happened in my mid 20s, early 30s.
Wow.
And I didn't start teaching it until I was 64.
Yeah.
And that was the journey
Yeah.
to have all of the other experiences that
Wow.
connected the dots of the three near death experiences.
Wow. That's
But I can
amazing.
tell you, we are not alone. We are
Mm-hmm.
never alone. We are ultimate love. Everything comes from love and goes back to love. When
Yeah.
we're not love in the moment, we recover it and we are it again there, regardless of what has happened here.
So was there, so when you had all the lights coming and them, was there like, did you feel fear, or you were just calm, or you were just like, how were you
I
feeling? I'm just
I
curious.
felt more, and this is strange because you're dead, right? I
Yeah.
felt more alive and more awake and
Uh,
more aware.
uh,
Um, I
yeah,
almost felt like when I was a child, I was technically legally blind, and all I really saw was color and light.
yeah,
And so I had early childhood experiences with, what we would call angels and fairies and lights.
right.
And I was too young to understand that that was support that was coming from divine love for
Yeah,
me. And later on, when I became fully sighted, I kind of pushed all that to the back and I
yeah.
didn't talk about it. In actual fact, my parents took me to a child psychologist to have me hypnotized so I wouldn't remember my dreams.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh
because it
dear.
was very disconcerting for them that I would be
Yes.
talking with
Oh
spirit.
no. I understand. Yeah. Oh.
But when my
Wow, that's
grandfather died, he
wonderful.
gave me
Yeah.
an experience of to relay to my parents that only I could know because he was telling me. And then
Ah,
my father got the call, and I'd already rushed in crying and told my dad everything that Grandpa had just told me.
yeah.
And then my auntie called and told him all of that, and it was like an aha moment for my
Yeah.
dad. And he spent a
Wow.
lot of time apologizing and saying, "I'll never doubt you again," because,
Wow.
you know, where before
That's that's just so beautiful. I know, Donna, that I mean, with all of your background and all of your experiences, I mean, there's just such a wealth of knowledge that you have. And I understand that you're writing another book. Like, you're actually
I'm
writing
writing
your
it.
full
I'm
book.
finally writing it.
And what's this one going to be about? Can you tell us a little bit about it,
Um,
or?
It's a creative memoir which is going to incorporate my life story, a little bit about my parents, quite a bit about my parents, because that plays into my journey,
Yeah.
and then my path to experiencing all that is love and how I got there. And it wasn't an easy journey, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through, pre-cancer 3 times. I've gone through polio. I've gone through near blindness. I've had 2 divorces and 2 other failed relationships. So, and I was near suicide twice in my life. So,
Mm-hmm.
picking yourself up and finding your center, I couldn't have done that through those other experiences if I hadn't had the experience of knowing that this was for a reason and that I didn't
Right.
have to understand it. I just had to live through it
Right.
and
Yeah.
continue to be,
Mm-hmm.
through it. I always say we're either a human being or a human doing. And if you're doing and doing and doing, you just end up with doo doo. If you're
Yes.
being, you shine a light, and the light shines for other people, and you bring
Yeah.
that light to yourself
Yeah.
and to others.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I can't wait to read the book. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited for you. So you'll have to contact me when you've got it out so we can chat about it.
I will.
Yeah,
Watch for Yo Yo to God. You're never
Yo-Yo to
alone.
God. I love the name. Um, so can you tell me a little bit about your writing experience? So, a lot of times I have ladies who are interested in writing their stories, but there's a lot of fear there. And it was interesting. One of the ladies from the book, she just got all her books yesterday, and she opened them up and she did a lovely post. But it was interesting because she said um, that she almost backed out, and she did. And I know when the fear sets in because I start to hear it and see it, and so we have to try to get them past that. And she was just saying, like, I would have been crazy to have backed out, and it was lovely. And so I thought, when I read that this morning, I thought, I want to ask Donna, like, did you have a moment where you felt like you wanted to back out, or what would you say to anybody that might be listening that wants to write, but maybe they're just afraid?
Well, let's face it, Julie, it took me 70 years.
Oh,
to get the courage. So did I have a lot of doubt? You bet I had a lot.
Maybe I shouldn't be asking you this question.
Yes, there was
No, it's
incredible
cute.
doubt,
Yeah.
decades of doubt. I don't know how many times I almost started, and I
Hmm.
would put the pen to the paper and I would write maybe a page, and it would feel like a personal journal and not
Yeah.
like a book. And I don't have a lot of formal education, so I felt, I didn't have a degree or anything like that. It was, am I qualified? Am
Right.
I am I going to be pillared for writing something that is beyond some people's belief systems?
Hmm.
There were all kinds of fears, all kinds of doubts, and I have to say, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, if it hadn't been for you, even though I declared that outrageous goal as an I am, I'm not sure I would have,
Oh,
because writing, I mean, the first thing I wrote for you was just a very small bit, and
yeah.
then a little bit bigger bit, and then the chapter. And they were stepping stones, and also reading the other ladies' stories from the books. And I was blessed to have that wonderful moment of also sharing in the same book with my sister, which
Yes.
who gets to do that, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so
Aw.
without uh, you were a touchstone, the the ability to run everything by you, to know that you were there, and you are such a leader with so
Oh.
much heart, that it's incredible what you do,
Oh, well,
and
thank you.
it's such a gift. It's such a gift to
Mm.
the world, and it's the what these women, including myself, are bringing forward is a piece of their heart,
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything is necessary. I was talking to someone today that said when she wrote her first book, she had no idea that she would touch. She said, I thought maybe I'd touch my family and a few people. And rapidly, it went to 10 million people. And she said, I know it's a number, it's qualified, it's quantified. My story touched and changed 10 million lives.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you never know
No.
when your story is, who it's going to resonate with and who
Yes.
needs to hear that
Yes.
word in the moment.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And a lot of the writers, because we've had over 60 now, and now we're working on our sixth book. So that's going to bring us up to over 70 writers. But a lot of them say, if I can just touch one person,
One person.
if I can just help one person, then I'm going to do it. And it's almost like that's what gives them the courage to move forward. It's just knowing that they're going to be able to help themselves, because a lot of the stories that people write are very, very personal,
Mm-hmm.
very personal. And I'm proud of everybody, because it takes a lot of courage to put it in a book and then put it out into the world for everybody to see and read. So, it's congratulations to everybody that's done it. I'm proud of everyone. Yeah. Well,
Well,
Donna, is yeah, go ahead.
I would encourage anybody at all that is thinking that, or even
Mhm.
feels they have something and to say, and doesn't know how to do it, that this is a process that works
Yeah,
and is
yeah,
bringing such necessary grace
yeah.
to the world.
Yes. Oh, oh, you have a beautiful way with words, my dear.
Oh,
Okay, Donna, so we're pretty much almost done here, but I wanted to ask you. So you're a coach. So do you want to, is there any way people can get a hold of you? Did you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, and if anybody wants to reach out and find you, how they go about that?
yeah, the best way to contact me is through my website or to phone me. My website is www.donna, Donna, Fairhurst, Fairhurst.com. And my phone number, my office phone number is 778-622-1743. I'm a
Perfect.
life and soul coach, and I help women and a few brave men to pivot powerfully through any life challenge that they're facing with confidence and the knowledge that they're not alone. So that's what I
That's
do. I
beautiful.
just help women move through transitions
Yeah.
and not and feel the challenge that they're in as an opportunity to grow and know
Yeah.
themselves better.
Oh, beautiful. Well, what I'm going to do, Donna, is when I post this to YouTube, I'll put uh your uh web address and your telephone number. Is that so if that's okay?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll put your business number down there as well so that it's easy to find for anybody who might want to reach out to you in any way. And yeah, I just really want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this and thank you for being in the book. So if anybody wants to read Donna's story, here's the book that she's in. It's From Lost to Living, Women Like Me, and she's in the third chapter. And I encourage you to read it. It's fabulous. So thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate you being here, and we will hopefully see each other again soon.
Thank you, Julie. Love you.
Love you back.